Let's get the ball rolling. Para makita yung kapugian ni Harry. ah, ayan na. Kamusta naman kayo dyan, mga kameta? Pag-usapan natin. Ito na, especially itong mga bangers. Dami nakabang dito ng mga Diskaya Die-Hard supporters. Ay, sorry! Duterte Die-Hard supporters. Pero either way, DDS pa rin ang maging acronym. Wala akong sinasabi. Sinasabi ko lang, marami rin supporters sa mga Diskaya. Marami nagmamahal sa kanila. Maraming organic, genuine na nagmamahal sa mga Diskaya. Ang dami ko nakita mga post na, bakit mga Diskaya, kawawa naman sila, di naman sila kahit mga billion-billion ang pinag-usapan natin, di kawawa naman, ano lang naman sila, gawin natin silang state witness, protektahan natin sila, kawawa naman sila. Ayan tuloy. Tapos, inatak pa si Vico Soto, inatak pa yung mga, kung sino magka-question sa mga Diskaya. Sabi niya, walang iya, mga, ni Bangag, mga ng mga kakamping, mga ganyan. Ayan yung mga style ng bulok na yan. Style bulok na yan. Kaya pagdating sa style bulok, ang pinakamaganda dyan ay resibo natin, no? Medyo balikan natin ang kasaysayan na tignan natin saan nagsimula itong mga Zaldi, Harry, Diskaya, yan. Lahat na itong mga special characters na ito, wag natin kalimutan, wala sila sa usapan, panahon ni Pinoy, pati panahon ni Arroyo, whatever. Itong mga to ay nagbo-blossom in the past 10 years, beginning with Buyakasha DDS Duterte era. Yan, pag-usapan natin yung mga datos, pag-usapan natin ang mga bagay-bagay. Eto guys, eto na guys, of course magre-real talk tayo dyan. Oo naman, maraming kapalpakan ng mga dilawan. Kaya ang daming galit na dilawan sa akin. Kasi pag pinapoint out ko naman yung mga ek-ek nila, galit na naman sila. Sabi na, ito si Darian, Cloud Chaser, Feeling Arrow, mga ganun. Parang, kung wala kang masabing, kung wala kang masasabing matino, ano ka na lang. Oo, tama na, oo. Tapos, hindi naman nila ma-question yung datos natin. Hindi naman nila ma-question yung argumento natin. Sorry na lang, gusto niyo mag-English-English, wala naman tayong problema. Live from Oxford, no problem. Sabi nila, mayabang na naman si Richard. Kasalanan natin na may tayo, di ba? May ginagawa tayo sa buhay natin. Yan ang problema natin. Yan ang problema, masyadong self-righteous, sanctimonious. But, having said that, I never lost perspective of the forest just because of some faulty trees, di ba? Or like dodgy examples or circumstances here. I think we should not forget na for all of the shortcomings and mistakes and of different reformist administrations, ibang klase talaga yung nangyari sa ating bayan over the past decade, guys. Let's not forget about that. Ibang klase, ibang level. One of the worst ever presidents we have had, na-archive naman sa ICC, but nevertheless, we're still living with the legacy. In fact, one of the legacies of Duterte's is pumalik ang mga Marcoses sa poder. Alright? So, bago kayo magmamaganda, yung mga kaibigan natin na ka-DDS, ka-Diskaya, whatever, wag natin kalimutan, kung hindi dahil sa mga Duterte, kung hindi sana si Duterte ay purong best president ever si Marcos, blah blah blah, kunyari, blah blah blah. Tapos dinala pa yung yung remains ni Marcos Sr. diyan sa Cemetery of National Heroes natin. Kahit dami sa atin ay nagka-question diyan, sinasabi na he doesn't belong there, diktador, maraming ginawang mali. Ayan, tapos 2022, nag-unit team pa sila, tuloy, easy win for BBM. Otherwise, malay mo ba kung may pang mga Marcoses. Tapos ngayon, hindi nag-work. Guess what? Yung isang Marcos naman, ang tiniteam up naman nila, di ba? Akalain mo, di ba? Sasabihin mo people power, atakin mo Marcoses, biglang next thing you know, uniteam naman with IME. So from uniteam with BBM, ngayon uniteam with IME. So in that universe, you tell me guys, under what circumstances, by what metric or indicator, may kredibilidad itong mga sige lang, atakin nyo kami, sabihin nyo, si ganito, dilawan, ganyan, ganyan. Come on guys. Hindi kami nagpanalo sa mga Marcoses, hindi kami nagpabalik sa mga Marcoses. Kayo mga ka-unit team, kayo ang may kasalanan na bumalik ang mga Marcoses. Yes, Ilocano tayo, galing tayo sa Baguio and all of that. So what? Hindi tayo bulag sa mga kalokohan at mga masasama nangyari nung panahon ng dictatorship. I'm very open and consistent about it. Also, please lang, spare us this nonsense. Ngayon, biglang people power, biglang galit sa Marcos dictatorship, biglang, papaganyan. Excuse me, kayo nagpabalik sa mga Marcoses. Yung mga ka-DDS natin dyan, balikan nyo yung mga sinasabi nyo, 2016, 2015, 2017, 2019, 2022, all the way to 2023, Marcos kayo ng Marcos. Tapos inatak-atak mo kami, mga dilawan, mga ganyan. Ngayon, ano kayo? Tapos ngayon na isolated kayo or kayong na out of game, nagsama yung mga bangag. Get out of here. Pathetic, right? So, unang-una, huwag natin kalimutan, guys, mga Duterte, mga DDS ang tumulong sa pagpabalik ng mga Marcoses. So, implication number one, lahat ng mga kalokohan na nangyari ngayon, which no one can deny, dami mga corruption ganun. Even Marcos Jr. doesn't deny it, obviously. In-expose niya. We wouldn't get here if hindi tumulong ang mga Dutertes na bumalik ang mga Marcoses, number one. Pero number two, which is where things get even more interesting, for everything you can say about Marcos, at least inamin niya malaking corruption problem at kahit papano, at least there's some sort of attempt to at least do something about it. Now, of course, pwede natin i-question, effective ba tong ICI? Effective ba? Ano mangyari sa ombudsman? Ano ba to? Pakit lang ba to? Saan ba to? Blah, 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 blah. But last time I checked, one speaker is gone, one Senate president is gone. Like, may mga travel advisories na dun sa mga ibang mga high-level politicians. So, this is still a far cry, right? This is still a far cry from panahon ni Digong na ang dami niyang sinasabi na, whiff of corruption, blah, blah, blah. Tapos next thing yun, na nire-recycle lang niya yung mga corrupt na politiko. Ilan sa mga appointees ni Digong ay na-reappoint ng reappoint. Meron pa siyang mga appointees na 3 times na reappoint. May corruption issue, may kalokohan na ginawa, tapos binalik ulit. So, zero credibility. I'm sorry, zero. As in, basically, zero. But, point number 3, actually hindi zero, negative ang kredibilidad ng mga ano natin dyan, di ba? Mga Duterte and all. At yung mga core supporters nila dito sa issue ng good governance. I'm sorry, zero. As in, not zero, actually negative. Less than zero. Alright? Let's be absolutely clear about that. Now, for us to better understand that, dapat tignan natin. Hindi na, again wag atake na naman kami ng mga trolls, atake na naman kami ng mga kadiskaya, mga ganyan. But, guys, 'di ba? Huwag natin kalimutan ano yung genesis, ano yung ugat ng problema. Yan ang parating sinasabi. Alam mo kung nag-iisip ka sa buhay, tinitignan mo ano yung ugat ng problema. Bago ka dada ka ng dada, bago ka magyabang ganun, bago ka magpa-recommendation, ubusin, ganyan. Mag-isip ka, gamitin mo yung utak mo at saka critical thing at tignan mo ano yung ugat ng problema, right? So kung ang problema natin yung mga sinasabi natin ginagawa ng mga ghost projects, Diskaya, Zaldico, etc., perfect. Tanungin natin, kailan ba sila naging big time? Paano sila pumasok dito sa mainstream? Paano sila naging big contractors? Saan nagsimula yan? Gamitin niyo naman utak nyo. Now, kung ibang usapan dito, ibig sabihin tinatakpan nyo yung mga kalokohan or dinidistract nyo yung tao or ang inyong agenda i-weaponize itong anti-corruption sentiments and investigation para pabaksakin ng gobyerno, para umangat yung inyong amo, ay ibang usapan yan, which, many people suspect that's the case. Now, going back to this, guys, before we go to the numbers, because we have to look at both Zaldico and this guy, these people did not come out of nowhere. No, hindi sila 2023, 2022, 2024, definitely hindi sila 2025 naging big time. Naging big time tong mga tao na to na matagal, right? At we can clearly trace saan galing yung big time moment nila. Kailan sila breakout. Now, hindi niya alam yan ang bisa ng breakout. I-Google niyan. Breakout, ito yung moment na next level ka. So, alam natin itong mga tao na to, matagal na sila sa industriya, contractor, whatever. Pero kailan sila nag-breakout ng next level big time? Right? Kailan sila naging biglang kasama doon sa mga ilan-ilan lang na mga contractor na kumukuha ng mga bilyones na mga kontrata? Right? Yun. Gamitin yung utak nyo. Mag-research kayo dyan. Kasi yan ang dapat gawin natin, guys. Kasi kung hindi natin naintindihan or hindi natin bigyan pansin ano yung ugat talaga ng mga problema, wala talagang mangyayari sa atin. Ang mangyayari sa atin is mag-witch hunt lang tayo, paalisin natin ng politiko ito, next thing you know, andun pa rin yung system, andun pa rin corruption, andun pa rin yung problema. Alright? Now, again, none of this should blind us or deprive us of a critical attitude towards the shortcomings of the current administration. Hindi sila mutually exclusive. Doon sa mga ka-DDS natin na hindi naintindihan ibig sabihin ng mutually exclusive, hindi siya either or. Pwede criticize ang administrasyon ngayon, pwede rin tignan ano yung ugat ng mga kalokohan na nangyari ngayon. Kaya nga sabi ko, remind natin, hindi na sana bumalik ang mga Marcoses ng ganong kadali kung hindi dahil sa suporta ng mga Duterte. If not Digong, then Sara. If not Sara BBM, now Sara Aimee. Okay? Oh, okay. Okay. Now, before we go there, magsimula naman tayo sa mga seryosong bagay. Speaking of seryosong bagay, guys, hindi ko alam kung totoo yan. Yung may nag-post dyan na feeling ko hindi naman edited daw kay Harry Roque yan. Hindi naman. Pero inedit daw ni Harry Roque yung initial post niya na parang super hot daw si Barzaga. And then inedit daw into, even assuming hindi na edit at talagang ang final statement niya is, Kiko Barzaga, the hottest rock star. Hindi ko talaga. Grabing standards ni, from Supra to, Barzaga. Rockstar. Guys, talo pa to si Harry eh. May mas malala ko nakita. Nakita niyo yung minention ko yung kahapon dun sa talk natin with Sir Ronald. Oh my God, mayroon talaga mga believe talaga kay Barzaga. Bago natin puntahan si Banat Bay at saka si Sara Duterte. In fairness naman sa kanila, mukhang may standard naman sila kahit paano. At least within the DDS universe of standards. Pero, ito talaga eh. ito, hanapin natin dito. Guys, di ba nirecite ko pa yan? Barzaga, he was super eloquent. He was the most like, ano to, parang may Trump chat GPT. Parang, how are you gonna praise a DDS hero in a Trumpian way? Basahin natin to guys, kakaiba to. I mean, na-out si Harry. Kaya siguro si Harry, na pressure siya na sabihin hottest rockstar. Kasi inunahan siya ng mga ibang ka-DDS na na very, very impressed. Talagang superlatives ang ginagamit. My God, 25,000 pa yung nung emojis, nung response. Pakita ko sa inyo yung post na yun, guys. Like, ako parang jaw drop ako nung una. Akala ko nagpapatawa lang tong tao to. My God. My goodness. Kaya horror. Seryoso pala. Kaya nga, minsan parang awanan. Agawit tayo. Wala na. Hopeless case na tayo. Ito. Guys, 28,000 emoji response. 27,000 laughter emoji. Oh my God, may 100 heart pa. Ito guys Pakita ko sa inyo. Ito for the books talaga. Ito na guys. Talagang makasaysayan itong mga nakikita natin. Minsan hindi ko alam kung iyak tayo or tatawa na lang tayo. Kasi ito guys Akala ko Ito. Guys, 27,000 laughter emojis dun sa post ko. Ay, maniwala. Ito, pakita ko Woo! Buti nag-yoga ako in martial arts. Otherwise, minsan talaga. Guys, 27,000 emojis na tumatawa. Pero mas bilib ako dyan, yung 100 na nag-heart pa. Parang gusto ko i-zoom. Sino man nag-heart? Ito guys. Tingnan nyo naman, 27,000 laughter emoji. 784 likes. Siguro ito yung mga soft DDS. And then, 100 hearts. Sino kaya? Gusto na, i-zoom kaya natin sino man nag-heart. Totoong account ba itong mga to? AGCC PG Rubian Scott. Is that a real account? Baka naman. Pocholo Santos. Is that a real account? Wala, sino pa? Saipoding Omar. Obviously. Tapos pusa yung emoji. Ano ba naman to? Bati naman yan. Troll nyo pa para lang may heart. Ayan. Samara. Yun. G. Suhat Labarca. Sino pa? Doc Honey Tamayo. G. Kate Jacinto. Ayan. Sige. Anyways. Pero yung emoji guys, 27,000. Hindi ko last time, feeling ko last time na gano'n kadami na akong emoji na tao si Bato ang pinost ko or something about Digong eh. Pero, been some time I mean, I think ang record natin 1 million na emoji responses. Pero yun yung parang election time na parang pag heart, kunwari BBM, pag ganyan, Sarah, pag ganyan, yung mga ganon, yung mga fake polls, mga nanggugul lang. Pero ito guys, 27,000 laughter yun. Pero ito guys, that's not the thing I mean, hindi ko masisisi yung, never mind na yung 100 na card. Ito guys, basahin natin guys Sorry parang, kulang pa yung time ko. Siguro after 6 months, pwede ko na gawin British accent. Kiko was incredibly eloquent. Ito, basahin natin. Schedule. Ito. Guys, totoong tao to mga to. I really thought hindi totoo. I thought akala ko satire Ito. Kiko was incredibly eloquent last night. Confident, composed, and sharp. If I cannot do it British accent, ano na lang natin yan. You could feel the weight of every word as he spoke against corruption. He doesn't shout to be heard. Ayan ang gusto ko. Ito poetic tong part na to. He doesn't shout just to be heard. He speaks with reason and conviction. It's rare to see someone that young, lit with such moral clarity and courage. Courage, guys. Wow. No, seriously, Kiko was incredibly eloquent last night, confident, composed, and sharp. You could feel the weight of every word as he spoke against corruption. He doesn't shout to be heard. He speaks with reason and conviction. It's rare to see someone that young, mali parang someone that young leading with such, kaya pala mali kasing grammar niya. Leading with such moral clarity and courage. Pasensya na. But anyways, guys, so at that moment, guys, parang meow, 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 meow. Parang nawala ako ng pag-asa. Parang, oh my God. I mean, almost okay yung English ni, sino ba to? Angel o lalaki, ni Kuya. Pero, sinayang mo naman yung English mo. Although medyo mali-mali. Pero, kung ganyan lang ang... but, kaya feeling ko, na-challenge si Harry Roque na, paano natin tapat na si Harry Roque? You're so hot, rock star. So, but, this is what I found even more interesting, guys. Apparently, hindi ganun ka-hopeless yung mga kasama natin. Never mind si mga Harry, mga ganun. Apparently, ang mga hindi impressed dito ay, actually si Sara, kasama si Sara Duterte. Ito nakakatuwa itong sinabi ni Sara Duterte. Basically, sinabi, hindi ko pinakawala yan. Ito to. Saan yan? Mali, wait. Oh my God. Hindi, in fairness naman. May limitasyon din palang, flight of fancy ng mga ating mga minamahal na ka-DDS. Ito si Sara. Saan na si Sara? Sara. All. Sara. Ito. Ayun. Ito sinabi ni Sara Duterte. Di ko pakawala si Kiko. Sara Duterte denies being behind Mars. I mean, I cannot blame her. I mean, honestly, who wants to claim na itong kanyang hero, except kung katulad ka ni Kuya na sobrang impressed sa or katulad ka ni Harry na hot kay Kuya. Ito, Sara Duterte denies role in Kiko Barzaga actions. Buti pa naman. Pero, aminin natin, mas impressed pa ako sa reaction ni, parang totoo naman chinek ko kung fake to parang hindi naman. Ito si Kuya. Mas maganda pang reaction ni Kuya. Ayun.
Kung siya yung nanawagan at supposedly nangunguna. As a matter of fact, yung mga pulis nga doon hindi alam kung sino yung organizer. Di ba, Congressman Kiko Barzaga, makinig ka? Maganda you should stay kasi people are already coming. Ang ginawa mo, pumunta ka, nag-hi, hello, meow, meow, tapos umalis ka. kung siya yung nanawagan at supposedly nangunguna. As a matter of fact, yung mga pulis nga doon hindi alam kung sino yung organizer. Di ba, Congressman Kiko Barsaga, makinig ka. Sana you should stay kasi people are already coming. Ang ginawa mo, pumunta ka, nag-hi, hello, meow, meow, tapos umalis ka. Kung siya yung nanawagan at
Ayan. Hi, hello, meow, meow. Yan. Hindi nga ChatGPT, mali nga yung grammar. At in fairness naman sa ChatGPT, kay tabad minsan. In fairness naman, matino yung form. But anyways, at least naman, I mean, so medyo na-restore ang ating faith in humanity after itong banat and itong denial by Sara Duterte. In the meantime, on the more depressing side of the story, so, syempre, mauna tayo dun sa mga good news. Ang good news po ay hindi ganun ka-hopeless lahat ng mga kaibigan natin dyan. Diba? Ibig sabihin, mayroon pa rin mga medyo, nag-iisip naman kahit papano. Now, on a not so good news, to be honest guys, okay, ito seryoso tayo. Medyo nag-aalala ko about where things are going. Nakakabahala itong mga developments na nakita natin. So, ang huling development na nakita natin guys dito is, well, I mean, I'm willing to give the Ombudsman more benefit of the doubt. Although, if you listen to yung discussion natin ni Sir Ronald kahapon, he seems to be a little bit more skeptical. Whether ito yung issue ng SALN or other things, parang concern niya, baka medyo nag-hedge. Pero I won't say na meow-meow yung nangyari. I think medyo in fairness naman, I'm still willing to give Ombudsman more benefit of doubt. I mean, I'm someone who started very skeptical about Remulias, given they were close ally of Duterte's, yung position nila sa ABS franchise back in the day. Lahat naman back in the day, lahat ka-DDS doon, diba? Except kami, mga kawawa na anti-DDS, anti-Marcos. Pero now, well, times have changed. Ano tayo? Tayo ang third force. Yung mga medyo ayaw magpagamit, ayaw magpa-auto, at saka ayaw Anyway, in fairness naman sa Remulias, they stood by handing over an ICC level alleged criminal who basically ma-archive na siya. Now, hindi ko alam ano yung mga kacharot-charot ni... Medyo ingat ako magsalita kasi baka hindi naman ako ingat, pero misa I wonder if tong TikTok na to, meron siyang parang prompt, parang ChatGPT. Pag may sinabi kang words in succession, ay biglang i-shutdown niya yung app or Sayang pa naman, medyo nagbe-build up tayo ng support sa TikTok kahit paano. O naman, like naman kay John para mag 1 million like naman tayo dyan sa TikTok para naman feel natin dyan. But, yeah, I mean, like, whatever you want to say about the Remulias, let's not forget they were close allies of Duterte also back in the day. Alright, so wag tayo magloloko dito. Having said that, at least they help hand over Duterte, to face justice dyan sa ICC. Otherwise, good luck na lang sa atin. And they stood by, and in many ways, actually, they plug in the holes dun sa very confrontational Senate hearing. Well, may time pala sila for hearing pero si Fortwit wala daw time na magkaroon ng trial. But anyways, nagkaroon ng hearing na ek lang na kangaroo hearing ni Aimee noon. Basically harassing people who were involved. And in fairness, dun nakita natin na si General Torre was not 100% dialed in. And there were times na in fact Remulla, especially Crispin, was basically strong-manning the whole team, right? And then, of course, all of the harassment, legal harassment, legal harassment, court shopping, whatever, ginagawa ng mga ka-DDS natin, sila Aimee, whatever, kidnapping daw ginawa, blah, blah, blah. Tapos, gusto nila magpa-interrelease, sasabihin nila, kidnapper ang ICC, hello, di ba? Nyamat na kita. Now, having said all of those things, I'm still willing to give the Ombudsman a benefit of the doubt. I mean, at the very least, it's not -10, as was the case with Martires, who basically made it almost impossible for us to have any proper scrutiny of the financial state of assets and liabilities ng mga politiko. Basically, critics would say protector siya ng mga Duterte and mga trapo. And now, Kiko Pangilinan, not Kiko Barzaga, but Kiko Pangilinan is basically saying baka gusto rin natin investigate si Martires among other things, right? Because suspiciously incompetent yung kanyang reign in power, critics would say, right? Like not only like conspicuously like in your face incompetent, right? Or basically anong term dyan? Hindi hindi siya harakiri but like when you you basically demobilize yourself on your own, right? Like self-defanging, basically nangyari. Parang ganun ang ginawa niya. So, very suspicious yan. Extremely suspicious. Considering the ombudsman position is like 6 years, fiscal autonomy, blah, blah, blah. And then like totally, you're like, anyway, basically it was the anti-ombudsman position taken by the previous ombudsman. So from that -10, at the very least 0 ngayon. But I think you can go more than 0. Whether it's going to be 10 out of 10, I'm skeptical. But could it be 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10, 5 out of 10? Let's see. But even 5 out of 10 will be an improvement from -10, right? Which we had when the former ombudsman was there and Duterte was in charge, and basically, right, parang shield ang nangyari. Now, having said that, I'm still worried, guys, dito sa situation sa ICI because there's so much controversy, and daming noise around ICI, which is almost exactly the opposite of what you wanted to see in ICI, which is credibility beyond question, integrity beyond question. The whole, I think, Magalong episode completely got out of control. And I think tinitira pa rin ni Magalong yung ICI ngayon or whatever nangyari sa kanya. And then, of course, on the other side, in-expose din nila yung mga alleged mga cover-ups, blah, 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 in Baguio, but allegedly ganun. So, it's gonna get ugly. And then, yung mga justices we expected to be there, not there, with all due respect to whoever's there. So, basically, you're left with Singson, but you have a situation, we discussed this kahapon with Sir Ronald, you have Singson saying one thing, and then next thing you know, you're hearing differently from within the ICI, whether it's what the spokesman is saying or what is actually happening in the ICI. So nakakabala yan, to be honest, guys. So I really don't know what is the state of affairs, right? Diyan pa ako sa Facebook, parang nawala ako. Nasaan na yung ko? Anyway, I hope I'm still there. Once again, check ko lang kung andyan pa ako sa, nawala yung window na yan. Sa dami kong binubuksan na window na sabay-sabay. Live pa tayo. Okay. Yeah, sorry. Kasi ang dami kong windows na open dito. Parang nawala bigla. Anyway, so I'm really worried, and etong latest statement galing sa ICI na ayaw na makipag-cooperate ang mga Sara Duterte and mga Diskaya, and the Diskaya is having the temerity to say, ayaw namin dyan sa ICI kasi yung isang member dyan may sinabi na basically parang prejudicial sa mga kaso namin, blah, blah, blah. I mean, so so basically toothless ang ICI. Kasi if ICI is really toothless, kung wala talaga siyang mandato, kung hindi niya kaya to even get people like Diskaya in line, then maybe they should just fold the ICI or incorporate it into the ombudsman. Basically, it will be an extension of or kind of a public version or more prominent version of the investigative arm of the ombudsman, because yung ombudsman office dapat meron siyang investigative arm para investigate lahat ng mga kalokohan ng ginagawa ng mga politiko at saka yung mga sangkot sa kalokohan. Although of course the ICI can look at not only politicians kasi yun yung job ng ombudsman, but can go beyond. But so I don't know, it could be an addendum to the ombudsman. I'm talking in functional terms kasi in legal terms they are separate entities, yes, and ombudsman focuses on officials and holding them accountable. But parang I'm saying, like, as things stand, galit ng tao, nagiging skeptical ng tao, tapos ginaganyan lang na ICI yung mga Diskaya at si Sara yung man lang magpakita. And then to make it worse, transparency is an issue with the very entity that was supposed to increase transparency and institute a degree of accountability. So what on earth is going on, diba? Parang what on earth is going on here? So in that sense, ayan, troll, ikaw buhay ka pa. Titreaten niyo pa ako, walang ya. Pathetic. So going back to this, guys, we really have to understand bakit tayo nandito, diba? Kasi if you don't understand how we got here, you won't understand what to prioritize. You won't understand what is at stake. At dito, guys, nakakatakot kasi, as things stand, baka ang mangyari lang dito is manggugula, mangingay lang ng mga meow-meow, magiging lame duck lang yung administration, and in the meantime, performative lang basically at walang nangyari sa mga issue ng corruption, so magiging lalong cynical ang mga taong bayan. And that's a very big worry for me. And worse, that cynicism could be easily weaponized into something 10 times, 100 times worse. sa nakita natin sa Mendiola, and probably and God forbid something more similar to what we have seen in places like Nepal, or on a less crazy level in Indonesia not long ago. So since last year pa lang, tayo ni Justice Scorpio, ni Sir Ronald, we have been warning about, people are plotting to create revolutionary government, to replicate EDSA dos, except with far worse consequences, or people who are basically saying that we should give up on any pretense even to democratic politics. So nakakatakot yan. And all of this is happening while the Philippines is caught in between competing superpowers, not to mention our own fight in the West Philippine Sea. So clearly there's going to be broader geopolitical aspect. I know this because this is my job. This is basically my day job, right? Geopolitics. But then again, guys, the reason also I'm worried is because we lose perspective here. We're just saying, lahat naman sila corrupt, so hopeless case. So basically, you go down the kind of a vice ganda kind of logic, pakulong lahat yan, or yung worse na DDS logic back in the day, ubusin na lahat yan. So that kind of unnuanced, sabog thinking, to be honest, that doesn't get us anywhere. You have to be systematic. You have to work it through state institution. Absolutely correct, as Cardinal David put it. It's hard, it's difficult, but that's really the only and best way, because any other alternative is either walang mangyari, purong pakit and performative, or worse, the whole thing falls apart and the center collapses. And those two are very distinct possibilities. And then there's also the possibility of what I call the Brazilian style scenario, which is corrosion. Political corrosion, kung saan lahat ng mga institution mawawalan ng kredibilidad, which also creates a very dangerous political vacuum, whereby not necessarily ang mangyari dito is EDSA 3 or EDSA, well, EDSA nangyari ng EDSA 3. It's more, I'm talking about yung mga supporters naman ni ERAP na hindi tinanggap yung pagtanggal kay ERAP. That's called EDSA 3. But anyway, mahabang usapan yan. So it's not about the question of another people power or coup d'etat. It could be a question of just pure political corrosion, and the next thing you know is 100 other Barzaga meow people come into the fore, and next thing you know, we're gonna go even towards a crazier 2020 elections, more unpredictable, more incompetent and crazy people in the game. And when I say crazy, I don't mean it in a clinical way. Of course, I always have empathy and sympathy for people. Even I'm talking about like people have no respect whatsoever for rules of engagement, rule of law, and standard operating procedures, not to mention basic notions of merit and competence pagdating sa politika. Anyway, what I'm trying to say here is that, guys, for you to have perspective, una, you need perspective para you can know ano yung mga levels of evil we're dealing with, because it's a 50 shades of gray, right? Hindi lahat ng mga politiko the same level of corruption. Some are way more corrupt than others. So unahin mo una yung mga yan, and then you move it from there, right? There are other things that you cannot change unless you change things systematically. So you have to understand what is the architecture of our political system. But you also have to understand saan tayo galing. At dito, guys, sinasabi ko kaya nga dapat vigilant tayo, because dapat naintindihan natin what is the primary, right, contributor to our current state of affairs. Yes, we should criticize Marcos Jr. on so many levels, but let's not also forget that a lot of problems we're facing right now are direct, diba, implication of the kind of politics that Rodrigo Duterte introduced beginning 2016. If you don't believe me, look at the numbers. Let's just look at the most controversial figures today, whether it's the Discayas or Zaldico. Let's start with Zaldico. It's an interesting case, right? So if you look at the Zaldico, everyone's talking, Zaldico, BBM side, blah, 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 ganun. So basically, the attack on Zaldico tries to always connect him to the BBM side or BBM's allies in the Congress, etc. But let's not forget, Zaldico got his break under the previous administration. Diyan nagsimula itong... Before that, he was just a regional contractor, right? But it was really during the previous administration that things got out of control. So this is an interesting investigative report. You can see it here. If you look at it, so even nung time ni Digong, so first of all, sa first year pa lang ni Digong, more than 12 billion pesos ang projects nakuha ng mga Discayas, who were basically small-time players before that. So they went big during the first of Duterte. It is true, tama po, sinasabi ng mga ka-DDS pala natin, sorry, na they were suspended, but later on, they would still pick up projects. In fact, there's a lot of evidence to show that later on, towards the end of the Duterte administration, tuloy pa rin. So from October 2021 to June 2022, St. Gerard snagged 5.6 billion in DPWH contracts. So Ito, tail end ng Duterte administration na to. So we have a lot of evidence, and you can check that in SEC filings, etc., that show that the Discayas talagang sarap buhay nung panahon ni Digong at doon nagsimula. So all 16 contracts of St. Gerard in Region 8 went to only one province, Southern Leyte, the turf of then Secretary Mercado. So before you go and attacking BBM or Martin Romualdez or whatever, look at this ties that bind and look at this history, guys, because that's very, very important. Kaya nga, you shouldn't be surprised na yung mga ibang DDS na, biglang, wait, DDS pa kayo or ka-Diskaya or whatever. Because, like if you scratch things a little bit lang, you'll find out, you'll find out things. Oh, by the way, this St. Gerard is with the Discayas, but let me also bring out but the Zaldico one is also interesting. So Zaldico also got this big break, really, during the previous administration. So before Zaldico became a fixture of congressional elite politics under the current administration, or at least since 2022, the big break really came. Alright? It was Digong time. Right? Kaya nga sabi ko, wag tayo magpapauto, di ba? You research lang kayo dyan. All the numbers are there. So you look at the major projects of the yung construction arms ng mga ko, and then look at the years when they really went big, and then easily you can find out, ayan, there's a Duterte connection again, diba? Yun nga yung sinasabi ko. Ay, sorry guys, natanggal ko pala. Sorry, natanggal ko tong magtampo tong mga taga-ano natin, kaibigan natin sa YouTube. Ito to. Let me pull this. Ito. So, ito yung Sun-West controversies. Alright? Check this out, guys. So, yung Sun-West, ito yung company ni Zaldico, di ba? So, 2010, meron na siya mga projects, pero medyo problematic. According to the report by Philippine Star, so basically, dodgy. Cornered the bulk of river dredging projects funded through so-called congressional initiatives, reforms of budgetary insertion made by Congress, blah, blah, blah. So, 2010 pa lang, may dodgy na. But 2013, Sun-West was not in the Bureau of Internal Revenue's list of top tax-paying contractors, even though they were among the big winners of government infrastructure projects. So they were already picking up. 2014, the Commission on Audit said Sun-West was among the 12 private contractors being investigated for pork barrel irregularities, but it was not blacklisted despite the DPL. So may mga kalokohan din nangyari nung panahon ni Aquino. So let's be fair also about this. But this is the interesting thing. 2021, sinong presidente ng 2021? Ano administration yan? Digong, right? 2020, Sun-West was among the top 10 firms that secured at least 1 billion pesos in pandemic-related contracts, compelling a watchdog to comment that they were favored over other suppliers. So dito papasok, guys, yung usapin formally, right? Kaya nga sabi ko, hindi ito, if you really want to understand ano yung ugat ng itong latest iteration, the most horrendous, beastly form of corruption we're saying, you have to go back to that complete climate of impunity that was present during Digong's time. How many big fish drug lords were caught during Digong? But more importantly, or more important for the cause of this discussion, how many big corrupt contractors or whatever were held accountable during Digong's time? At the same time, how many corruption scandals we had? So you have all of this report, for instance, on even Duque admitted that allegedly Duterte authorized 47.6 billion pesos, dun sa fund transfer nung time ng pandemic, and all sorts of weird stuff happened, etc. And kasama dyan yung Farmali scandal. And then look at the individuals who were involved in the Farmali scandal. And look at the connection they had to the Dutertes. Yan ang sinasabi ko, guys. You have to understand, we never had a perfect system. We always had the corruption, serious corruption problem. As you can see, like just look at the history of, for instance, the Sun-West company of Zaldico. So matagal naman na tayo mga ganitong corruption. But where things really entered the next level, nag-breakout level corruption. Now, we went from 10 billion pesos corruption level nung panahon ni Pinoy, I'm talking about the PDAF scandal, to why now you're at $10 billion corruption scandal. You have to understand where this started. Why biglang lumobo ng ganito? Bakit exponentially nag-explode ito So that once you look at itong ugat na itong pinakamalalang corruption, the worst corruption scandal sa ating kasaysayan, then you understand why yung mga katulad natin na medyo nag-iisip, medyo nagre-research, medyo naman ginagamit naman natin yung natin, ay sinasabi wag natin kalimutan saan galing tong problema, anong ugat ng problema. Or at the very least, Ano naman, medyo may ayos naman yung mga kaibigan natin, nagmamalinis ngayon na good governance, charot-charot. Eh, anong sinasabi niyo yung time na yan? Ang daming kontrata nakuha ng mga Diskaya, yung mga Zaldico types nung panahon ni Digong. So kung galit talaga kayo sa corruption, dapat noon pa lang nagsasalita, tapos ngayon lang kayo magsalita, di ba? Yun ang sinasabi ko eh. Galit kayo sa Marcoses ngayon lang, pero dati, nung 2020, sinuportahan yung mga Marcoses, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, inattack nyo, binabastos nyo parati si Lenny, tapos yung pala, susuportahan nyo lang pala si BBM, tapos ngayon, biglang galit na, do you see what I'm saying? Zero credibility. Mga hipokrito. And worse, ito rin yung mga tao na nag-enable ng culture of impunity, which got 10 times worse nung panahon ni Digong. Eh, archive na siya ngayon sa ICC. But what about the whole systemic devastation and basically bonfire of institution situation that happened during Digong? So, I'm explaining to you guys, datos po, kasaysayan po, basically path dependency analysis po, ang basehan ng ating mga judgments at mga analysis natin sa kasalukuyan ng problema natin. Hindi naman bumaksak si Zaldico from the sky ng 2023 lang or 2024 lang, di ba? Or nung biglang nag-away mga Duterte, biglang bumaksak siya sa side. Hindi. Mga Diskaya, hindi rin sila biglang out of nowhere. 2016 pa lang, ligaya ng buhay ng mga Diskaya. Medyo na blacklist sila. Bumalik na naman ulit sila towards the end of Duterte. All the data is there. So that's what I'm saying, guys. So when you look at this history, you will realize pagdating sa 50 Shades of Grey or 7 Circles of Hell, saan ang pinaka may problema? And then you can work it from there. Now, why is this important? Because if you're really for fighting against corruption, you realistically move from the worst and then slowly you solve the problem and then you create systemic change. That's really how to do it. Otherwise, either hipokrito ka, nagbubulag-bulagan ka, tamad ka, hindi ka nag-research, or something even worse. Baka kulto ka. Hindi ko alam yan. Basta ang point ko lang is the data, the research, everything is there. I'll post all of the links below for you guys to check it on your own. Now, kung ang style bulok, hindi, yan yung bias yan, dilawan yan, blah, blah. Kung ganyan gusto niyo mag-isip, talagang kulto na kayo, the hopeless case na kayo, then there's no point for us to have this conversation. Alright? On that wonderful note, amazing note, buti nga nag-start tayo sa mga bars talaga. No, I'm just saying, guys, it's gonna get worse if we don't develop critical thinking. I'm telling you guys, lalala yan. It's gonna get more meow. It's gonna get more scarier kung hindi natin ayusin yung ating political literacy and critical thinking efforts natin. I'm sorry guys, ayusin talaga natin yan. I'm not even talking about the Dennis Uy and all the Duterte Garks and all of those people na suddenly naging billion dollars na yung mga kanilang kontrata nung panahon ni Digong. Nothing suspicious at all, of course. Of course, galit si Digong sa oligarchs. Hindi nga sinasabi ko, Budol King talaga si Digong eh. Whether sa corruption, whether sa issue ng drugs and all, purong budol ang ginawa niya. Now, I'm not saying he did what Senator Trillanes has even a more stark theory of what was going on. But for me, he was just a complete incompetent demagogue who never deserved to be anything more than a certain level. Like, ayoko na. Yung mga kaibigan natin from certain areas who love him, like keeping there, he shouldn't have become the national president. I'm sorry about that. And we have so many great leaders from Mindanao and different parts of the country, from outside Imperial Manila, na sana sila na naging presidente. Diba? Anyway, I'll keep it there. Baka may sasabihin tayo, lalo kayong magagalit at alam ko medyo gabi na dyan sa atin sa Pilipinas. I'll keep it there, but I hope guys you understand where I'm coming from with my interventions and all. You have to be evidence-based. You have to be longitudinal. Tignan mo yung long term and dapat titignan mo yung ugat ng mga problema natin. Again, we had a bad situation already before Digong, but nag-next level na kasi siya, and now we're seeing the culmination of all the negative impact that the Duterte era of impunity has had on our institution. Kaya nga, without any doubt, I could say the return of Duterte to Malacanang, which is not impossible, if not even probable, would be a double disaster for the Philippines, and talagang good luck talaga sa atin. Now, you want to use this, splice this, and say, mga dilawan, mga elitista, mga konyang, ganyan. Bahala kayo dyan. Good luck. I always said, maging palpak yung kanyang drug war, maging palpak yung kanyang China policy, lahat tama. Because I could exactly see where this was gonna go. And I'll tell you what, pag bumalik na naman yan, mas yari na naman tayo. But of course, Gusto mo maniwala sa disinformation, sa alternative reality, sa fake news, problema mo na yan. Except, ang problema is, pag naniwala yung iba sa fake news and disinformation at makulto sila, mga ganon, kawawa naman ng buong bansa kasi nadamay lahat. Dahil unfortunately, may tyranny of majority tayo. In fact, it's not even majority. Sometimes it's just plurality. Di kung just barely 38% of the votes. But whatever, right? Because numbers game ang unfortunate ang democracy natin, the qualitative. If some people allow themselves to be manipulated by disinformation and all of these dodgy people, everyone suffers. Everyone suffers. That's why I completely disagree with this point. Now, you get leaders that you deserve. That's not true. That's not true. When the system is rigged, most people don't get the leaders they deserve. Not to mention, sometimes people make mistake, but they don't deserve to suffer for the next 6 years or worse. On that note, thank you very much, guys. Maraming salamat. Talk to you soon, and please don't forget to follow us on different platforms. Oh, wag niyo nakalimutan yung TikTok natin, ha? Medyo pinabalikan na natin ng konti. Richard Haydarin 007, of course. James Bond Feels. And of course, dito sa YouTube, i-upload din natin ang full episode na to. Na-upload na natin yung episode natin with Sir Ronald Llamas kahapon. Oy, Kipe, obviously ikaw yung tabad nga troll. Huwag kang magmaganda dito. Ha, kayong bayaran dito. Either bayaran ka or tabad ka or worse. Or both. No. I mean, we have to, guys, I'm telling you, we have to, may epal na dilawan nagsabi, si Richard, ganyan siya sa mga critics na, excuse me, you put yourself in my place. Since 2017, 2018, ina-attack ka everyday ng hundreds and thousands of people. Buti nga, game na nga ako. But you see, we have an obligation to keep a safe space here. Dapat hindi tayo pumayag na binabastos yung mga platforms natin. Especially because we're doing this live. Alright? So, yung mga iba dyan na duwag, they cannot even write on their own name or identity and gano'n. Tapos magyayabang sila, oh, si Darren, ba't inaway ng critics? No. You have to understand. We have to be tough. We have to be strong. We have to be serious. Alright? Otherwise, meow, meow, meow. Yun lang mangyayari sa atin. Good luck na lang sa atin. And if we go meow, meow, even more Filipinos, even more of our people are gonna suffer. And definitely, no one deserves that. No one deserves that. Kaya responsibilidad talaga natin is to fight for what is right and to call out the nonsense, the budol. We have to be budol buster. Puya ka siya. Thank you very much and talk to you soon.